Greetings and welcome everyone on another episode of Thoughtful Leaders, an initiative under Thoughts on Education by Collegedunia, India's largest student review platform. Today, we have with us Professor Raghavan Rangarajan, Dean of Undergraduate Colleges and Professor, School of Arts and Sciences. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
We will start with a brief introduction of Dr. Raghavan Rangarajan. He is currently professor in School of Arts and Sciences, Dean of Undergraduate College, and Dean of Students at Ahmedabad University. Prior to that, he was on the faculty of the Theoretical Physics Division at Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad, for 2 decades. Dr. Rangarajan obtained his bachelor's degree at Princeton University and PhD at University of California. He was a postdoctoral fellow at Houston Advanced Research Center. His research areas are cosmology and particle physics. He has worked on different subjects in these fields such as dark matter, the antimatter symmetry, and universe and the cosmic microwave background. We are pleased to have you, sir.
A pleasure to be here.
So, Dr. Raghavan, the education system in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. In your experience, what can inbound student gain from studying here in your university?
It is true that the Indian educational system is different from that of many other countries. In fact, even across the globe, different countries follow very different philosophies behind their education. At Ahmedabad University, our education, the education a student receives, is based on the following principles. One is interdisciplinarity, the other is multidisciplinarity, and the third is depth. By interdisciplinarity, we mean that a student at Ahmedabad University experiences courses which cut across disciplines. For example, in the first year, every student goes through something called the foundation program, where they study 4 courses on democracy and justice, neighborhoods, water, environment and climate change. And each of these courses is taught by 6 faculty. 6 faculty from different parts of the university, different schools in the university. There is someone from arts, someone from the sciences, someone from data science, someone from communication, someone from engineering, someone from management. And collectively they teach this course. And any topic that is taken up there is taken up in an interdisciplinary way. In fact, you would have at any given time 2 teachers in the classroom. It could be a biologist with a management professor. And they may be talking about surrogacy, for example. And they will talk about it from different perspectives and let the students also discuss and get involved in that kind of a discussion. And all students take such a course together. There'll be engineers and history students taking this course together. On multidisciplinarity, we require at Ahmedabad University that a student takes about 60 to 65% of their courses in their discipline, and the remaining are outside of the discipline. What this means is that a student gets exposure to very different disciplines. Now, unlike in many other institutions in India where this idea has already come, where, okay, if you're an engineer, you've got to take some economics or philosophy or psychology or something. Most other institutions offer you a choice of only maybe 1 or 2 courses in each of these areas. Since we're a university, we have a full-fledged economics program, we have a full-fledged history program, psychology program. Therefore, an engineer wants to take a course, doesn't have to take only that one economics course or that one psychology course. She can choose from a spectrum of courses that may not have prerequisites. But with all this breadth, we don't sacrifice depth. All our programs require students to either complete undergraduate thesis or a capstone project or a BTech project for the engineers, where you go into a particular topic in greater depth while working alongside a professor. So a program like the one at Ahmedabad University, the undergraduate program, gives students a lot of breadth as well as depth. And at the end of the day, it doesn't just expose students to different topics. It's not like, okay, I learned some economics, I learned some history. It exposes you to different ways of looking at things, analyzing things. See, in a physics course, when you learn how to solve problems, you train your mind to stretch in a certain way. But then, if you take a let's say, history course, and you're looking at ancient texts and you have to try and interpret them, it stretches your mind in a different way. So what we're doing at the end of the day is that by the time you graduate, you have been sufficiently exposed to different ways of thinking that you're well equipped to enter the workforce or to go on in this 21st century, because the 21st century is in many ways very interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary.
Okay, so Professor, how does the curriculum of Ahmedabad University ensure the best practices of the industry?
So let me actually broaden the question. It's not just industry. Some of our students will go on and join industry. Right? Others will go on for higher studies. All our programs have a core set of courses that one has to take. And then there are electives, which you choose based on what your interests may be. And some of those choices will be made based on whether you want to continue and do a master's and a PhD, or you want to go out into the workforce and start working and applying what you have done. Many of our faculty are active researchers. What that does is that in the classroom when someone is teaching, even if you're teaching an introductory course in history or introductory course in engineering, because you're yourself an active researcher, you may be able to connect what they are learning with current cutting-edge research. Secondly, when students have to do their projects and their thesis, they can work with someone who's an active researcher. This brings students into contact with what are the current ideas that people are looking at. Specifically with regards to industry, in some of our programs, we do bring in professionals from outside who come in and just teach a particular course because they have a certain expertise. We're also engaging with industry all the time. We have a very good career development center. And through that engagement, industry comes to our university looking for students. At the same time, industry engages with our faculty on research projects. And their students can get involved as well.
So, sir, how Ahmedabad University is coping up with the corona situation right now? How is it helping the students for the current admission and the past students who are currently studying?
So when the lockdown hit Ahmedabad in mid-March, we went down for a week. We all huddled together and tried to figure out what should we do in this circumstance. And the decision was taken that we are going to continue. We don't know how long this pandemic is going to be. So let us deliver, let's finish this semester. And we went ahead. Our faculty got very quickly attuned to Zoom and other online tools. And we taught them on what we call it the winter semester, the second semester of the year, and completed our schedule on time. So now at the end of that academic year, we had all our faculty actually quite familiar with online teaching. They've had this summer to look at their courses again. This semester, what we have told students is that for now, it's going to be online teaching. If in the near future, we are able to bring students on campus, and we will only do that if we are sure that we can keep them safe. If in the near future, in this semester, we can bring students on campus, those students are still not comfortable about coming to campus, need not come on campus. All lectures will be recorded or they will be online, and so students would have access to it. For now, what we're doing is our semester has started, by the way, on August 4th, and lectures are on. And students are attending those classes. For the incoming class, the semester is starting on August 24th, and we are ready for it.
Okay, sir. Any insights into how your university could be more welcoming to the students of different races or economic backgrounds? Because as we see in current situation, due to Corona, many students are facing economic problems and they are not connected with internet and many difficulties. Can you answer that?
Yeah, so I think, so let me first talk about race and socioeconomic condition of students, and then we'll talk about the current situation with the pandemic. We try to create a welcoming and supportive environment for all students at the university. We have, when students join the university, we create a group of 15 students, which is called a friends circle. If anyone who has been to college knows that when you first land up on any campus from a school, you feel lost. There are 1,000 students. Yeah. We have about 3,500 students. And in school, you were in a class of 30, 50, and you knew everyone there. Many of them were your classmates for many, many years. You come to college, come to a university, everyone looks different. You may have a few classmates from school, but otherwise in your classes, you may not know anyone. So what we have done is that when you enter, or even before you enter, we have created a friend circle for you. And which is about 10 to 15 students. It has a student mitra, who's a senior student, who can advise students, who can tell them about tips from where to get the best stationery to where to get the best bhaji pav in this area. And there is a faculty advisor who also mentors these students. So anyone who comes to the university automatically from day one has a student mitra and a faculty advisor. And particularly in the first semester, most students find this arrangement very useful because it takes some time to make friends. So now at least you have a group that you can engage with. There's an older student whom you can talk to about issues, you're getting lost in the university, and a faculty advisor who's there, who may not be from your discipline, but who can take care of any issues that you may be having. And then for academic advising, we have major advisors, program chairs, etc., who engage with the students all the time. But coming back to the issue of race and socioeconomic condition, people come to the university from very different backgrounds. So some students will find problems in adjusting. And so we have very good counseling services on campus. And students often go meet the counselor. In addition, we have an online counseling service as well. So this would make anyone feel comfortable. With regards to socio-economic, we have quite a number of students at our university who are first-generation college goers. At least 10%, if not more, are first-generation college goers. So the education environment is particularly difficult in some cases for them. So we do all the emotional support, but then we also provide economic support. The offer of admission at Ahmedabad University mentions this is the fee, and the next paragraph says, if you need we provide need-based financial aid and merit scholarships as well. If you need financial aid, please contact so-and-so. And we have a system by which we look at a student's and their parents' economic status. And if we feel that the student cannot pay the fees, we have a mechanism by which we reduce the fees and provide support to the student. In some rare cases, we have even gone beyond the fees and provided whatever we could so that the student could actually attend the university.
First of all, sir, I would like to say, I would like to introduce this Friendship Circle initiative in my university also. That's a great initiative. And proceeding with the interview, what do you think your roles and responsibility to the universities and the students are?
So the role and responsibility of any member of the leadership team, and actually of any professor at the university, is, we're academics, we teach, we do our research, etc. But vis-a-vis the students, we play a role of both teacher and mentor. In the sense that if I'm in a class and I know that some student looks really down, feels, something seems difficult, they're perhaps not responding properly, etc. I might take them aside and just have a conversation with them just to see what things are like. So faculty do it, deans as well, because if sometimes a student has a problem which can't get resolved at the faculty level, they bring it up to a school dean or my office, and we first have to hear them out. That's most important. And then based on what they are telling us, we take necessary action. We may not always do what the student is requesting. The student may be saying, this, I would like the university to do this for me. And we may say, no, that's not as possible as per the rules of the university. However, if for some reason, the institution can do something to help that student, whether it's regarding a grade financial aid or something else, that's where the deans and the faculty do intervene and provide support. By the way, when I said something else, quite a few times the cases coming to me are of a student who's facing some kind of emotional stress. And then our system kicks in, the counselor is called, the instructors are asked, the faculty advisors are asked, what's going on with the student, how can we help the student? And then we make sure our counselors have to talk to parents when needed, just to make sure that a student feels comfortable at the university.
Sir, you have over 2 decades of experience in research. When you first came to Ahmedabad University, what was your vision? Has it evolved over time? Or how far along in the implementing that vision are you?
So, as you said, yes, I was a professor and scientist at the Physical Research Laboratory in Ahmedabad. My research is in cosmology. I study the processes that happened in the very early universe, in the first microsecond after the Big Bang, and correlate that with what we see in the night sky today, the size of galaxies, the average distance between galaxies, etc. At Ahmedabad University, I do continue my research, and at the same time, I have a lot of academic administration responsibilities. The vision for Ahmedabad University matched with mine, which is why I came here. I was always looking for an undergraduate institution that teaches students how to think, not what to think. And that is the underlying philosophy of this university. The reason why we give students all of these courses is because we're exposing them to different ways of thinking. The way our courses are designed, it's also to train the mind in thinking. So that at the end of the day, when you graduate from this university, you are a thinking citizen. That is, someone who can look at any problem and apply their mind to it. We all get trained in one discipline or the other, physics or philosophy or history. Of course, we'll bring the analytical skills that we learn in that to the problem immediately. But at the same time, we must recognize that there are other ways of looking at the problem, other dimensions to the problem, have the ability to ask the relevant questions about the issue, and then if you know the answer, you can reach out to others to get the answer. It is this kind of a vision of undergraduate education that we have at Ahmedabad University, and that's what attracted me to. And I believe going forward, we are in the process of providing this to our students, and we will improve in whatever ways are needed as we go forward.
What are some of the biggest challenges you see, sir, for both for higher education in general and for Ahmedabad University specifically?
In terms of challenges, if you're trying to build a university, there is the physical infrastructure, and then there's the human infrastructure, which is your faculty and your other employees, administrative employees, etc. I think we at Ahmedabad University are very selective when it comes to faculty hiring, and there's a sort of long process to ensure that we get people who can do research at a high level. We're a research university, so our faculty are expected to do research. If you compare the hours that a research faculty member at our university teaches, typically the UGC criterion guideline is 18 contact hours a week. At Ahmedabad University, it is 4.5 to 6 hours a week for the faculty, for the research faculty. There are some teaching faculty who focus primarily on teaching, but for the research faculty, it's about 6 hours a week. Excuse me, which means that the rest of the time they're focused on research. So to find faculty who fit this profile in terms of people who are good in research and are inspired enough to transfer their understanding and knowledge to students, it's a time-consuming process, and in some sense is a challenge. We have been able to meet it quite easily because we do get very good faculty applications from the best institutions abroad and in India, and then we carry out a process to select faculty. I think other than that, most of the other things are, we're a young university, we're only 10 years old, we're still putting up some of our buildings. That's not a challenge, it's something that takes time. We're hoping to get hostels very soon, and some of our student activity center should be ready within a year. It got held up because of the pandemic, otherwise it would have been ready by now. And so those are routine challenges, if you like, but routine milestones for any young university.
So, sir, as you informed, your university is very young. What do you think the university's top priority should be for over the next 10 years?
I think over the next 10 years, as I mentioned, first we have to attract the best faculty, so we have to build in some of our disciplines. The next is we need to build. Right now, we get a number of students from Gujarat and Ahmedabad, and students from other parts of the country, and a few from abroad. We do provide hostels. We need to extend the number of rooms that we have available, so more students can be accommodated. As of now, we have been able to accommodate most students who have asked for it, but we would like to have a far more extensive hostel facilities so that we can attract more and more students who are from across the country, across the globe.
So, sir, would you like to provide any closing remarks to the current youth and the aspiring students?
There are a couple of things I'd like to say. One is, look, when you're 18, don't expect to know what you want to study or what you want to do for the rest of your life. You haven't been exposed to enough disciplines or enough areas of study yet. Try to go to a university that gives you that freedom, that allows you to take courses across disciplines, and allows you to even change your major if you find that you like something better. I'm talking of in general, but I can just mention as an aside, at Ahmedabad University, you come in saying you want to study physics, you take some economics courses and you realize you love it more. There's a standard procedure by which you can easily change your major. So look for institutions that have a large number of programs or disciplines or departments, so you will get a chance to meet faculty and students from many disciplines. And ideally, it should have this flexibility that allows you to change your discipline when you're picking what you're picking. There is always a lot of pressure on students that they should go for only certain programs that are what is called as lucrative. The word that's used in many parts of India is that has greater scope. And what we're talking of is something that will get you a high-paying job. It's going to be hard to predict what are the high-paying jobs 5 years from now and certainly 15 years from now. So don't just follow this, what is the high-paying job in 2020 and say that that's the one I want to get into. You're far better off trying to figure out what you might enjoy. And studying that, because you're far more likely to be successful in something that you enjoy doing, rather than something that your neighbors told you and others are telling you that, oh, this has a lot of scope and you should go into it, and you get into it and then you realize that actually you don't enjoy it so much. Why do so many engineers in India, after a BTech degree, go on to do an MBA? It means perhaps they realized after joining the engineering program that engineering wasn't for them. Or maybe they even knew before they got into it that engineering wasn't for them, and they were just giving into some social pressure. So to parents, I would say, by the way, I'm also a parent of a child who's going to be one in college and another one is going to college this year. Allow our children to find out what is good for them, what they would enjoy doing. And don't be too worried about the issue of how they will support themselves later on in life. Even someone who's a poet can support themselves, not necessarily by writing poetry, but by becoming a professor of English at a good university. They may not make as much as a doctor, but they will have a far more satisfying life and probably a happier life. And that's what we want for our children. We want them to be well off only so that they're happy. If we can make them happy some other way, that might be something that we should certainly consider for our children.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Raghavan. We are pleased to have you, sir. Thank you so much for such a great session, sir.
Thanks so much. I also enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.